We just saw a historic election take place in Ghana where the people, particularly the young people, but the people in general of Ghana, said they are tired of the current administration and they want something different. That has led to the comeback of President John Mahama. Now, I want to discuss what I'm suspecting might be his policy, but don't take this as this is it. I'm just saying this based on articles I have read, comments that I have heard him made, and his history. But first of all, before I get into the president elect, I want to talk about the outgoing president, Nana Akufo-Addo. The first time he caught my attention was at the US Africa Summit in December 2022. And during that US Africa Summit, it was in a meeting with Anthony Blinken. Now, first of all, I want to say that I felt that US Africa Summit was very disrespectful because they packed African leaders to go to Washington to have a conversation with the Americans. And Biden didn't have the decency to sit down one on one with these leaders. He didn't think Africa was important enough. Joe Biden did not think that Africa was important enough for them to have conversation with the leaders of Africa. Instead, he delegated it to Anthony Blinken. So it was Anthony Blinken that sat down, taking notes. An African leader will come and they will have a conversation and they will take notes. Well, I wonder what has come out from those notes they took. Back to Akufo-Addo. During that meeting, he said something. He said, in fact, he did not just say, he was reporting the leaders of Burkina Faso and Mali, because Niger wasn't there, hadn't the military overthrow in Niger hadn't taken place yet. So he was reporting Burkina Faso and Mali to Anthony Blinken. And he said that the leaders of Burkina Faso and Anthony Blinken, I'm paraphrasing, they are making Ghanaians worried because they are brought in Wagner. So Wagner is working in the countries, that's Burkina Faso and Mali, which is making Ghana nervous because it can lead to terrorism spiking up in Ghana. And Anthony Blinken was like, oh, yeah, really? And was taking notes. It seemed to me like Akufo-Addo, the class captain, was reporting his classmates, that is Burkina Faso and Mali, to the teacher, which is the United States. I thought it was really, really, it was belittling of Ghana. I thought he belittled Ghana. But that was the first time. The second thing I noticed, I just want to mention, was when and I discussed that on this show, that he had an interview with France 24. And during the interview with France 24, he said that ever since the French military left, terrorism has gotten worse in the Sahel region. I did a video about that on this channel. You can go and look for it. He said terrorism has gotten worse in the Sahel region, implying that Sahel was better with the French military still in place. And then I said the French military were there, they did not put a stop to the terrorism. And after that, Macron also saw him and gave him a title, a French award like that. So this is it. So clearly, with Nana Akufo-Addo has been completely pro-West. I've said before, you can work with the West, though. But me, I say work with everybody. So my issue with Akufo-Addo is that he's so pro-West, and then he looks down or talks down on the East, as if all that I have listed wasn't bad enough. Just weeks before he left office or before this election, he unveiled a statue of himself. He unveiled a statue of himself to his honor. And sometimes, yeah, one thing that we learned growing up was that it's better for other people to sing your praises. Don't sing your praise yourself. But you see these leaders that have been so incompetent and haven't gotten anything done. Then to make matters worse, they now want to celebrate their non-existent accomplishments. It's very telling. I have learned that people who try to celebrate their non-existent accomplishments are those who feel inferior and they hope, oh, please remember me, I've done a good thing. And that there can also be narcissists. Nana Akufo-Addo unveiled his statue, really towering gold statue. I wonder why. The same thing that Tinubu did when he unveiled his portrait, the largest, Nigeria's Tinubu, by the way, just in case you don't know who Tinubu is, the largest painting, portrait in the world. He unveiled it on Nigeria's so-called Democracy Day. What I felt telling it was, of all the paintings to unveil, it was your own. People who tend to do that know that they have not accomplished anything. So that is that with ex-president Ado. Now I want to come to the incoming president. He has. This is where I'm really going to be speculating. When Nana Akufo-Addo was complaining about Burkina Faso and how it has about terrorism and all of those things he was complaining about, this incoming president of Ghana, who was one time president anyway, this incoming president of Ghana mentioned that rather than treat Burkina Faso the way that ECOWAS treated Burkina Faso, it's better to be nice. I'm paraphrasing, but it's better to be nice to them because whatever, if there's terrorism in Burkina Faso, it could affect Ghana. So it's in the interest of Ghana to work with them instead of ostracizing them, work with them to get rid of terrorism. This same president who is coming in now is also friendly with the Russians. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think attended he was a beneficiary of this scholarship, this educational scholarship that the Soviet Union was giving to African countries back then. I think he went to a school in Russia or in the Soviet Union. So this shows that he already has a soft spot for Russia. And this soft spot for Russia, he has also shown a soft spot for Burkina Faso and these AES countries, which is why some people are asking, is Ghana going to join the AES? I don't know if they're going to join the AES, but I'll be really excited if they do join the AES. But I don't know if they're going to join the AES. But what I do know is that the new president, Mahama, is going to be more sympathetic towards these countries, that is Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, compared to the outgoing president. And is also going to be sympathetic to the Russians compared to the outgoing president. Remember that United States has a mobile, is not permanent, but has a military base in Ghana. United States also took a section of the airport in Ghana for its military movement. So it doesn't matter who comes in, who goes out. Nobody knows. The government of Ghana does not know. They don't owe the government of Ghana explanation for what is going on in that what they are using that section of the airport to do. This same pattern I'm noticing now. I saw a news story this week in Nigeria, in Lagos State. There's this property on the Atlantic. What's the name of that property? It's one of the most, I can't remember the name now, but it's one of the most expensive properties in Nigeria, and probably the most expensive in Lagos. Eco Atlantic, yes. I've not verified the story, but I read it somewhere that the US military, the United States and Nigerian government have come to an agreement for the US to use a certain section of that property. Now that property is strategic because it's facing the Atlantic Ocean. It's a seaside property, not the whole property, but a section of it is a seaside property. America intelligence wants to use it. Now, what is making me very worried about that is that this place now that the Americans want to take for intelligence purposes, the Nigerian government does not know what is going to be going on there. They do not owe the Nigerian government any explanation. So anybody can come in, anybody can go out. They don't owe Nigerian government any explanation for what they are using Nigerian soil to do in Lagos State. So they can be taking Nigerians' information. They can be listening to the conversations of Nigerians. They can be monitoring the Nigerian people, and they don't owe the Nigerian government any explanation for the activities in Nigeria. I've said this several times on this show that the illusion that any African country really gained independence, we need to wake up from that illusion. We need to wake up from that illusion. There's no such we did not gain independence. In fact, the African countries that are fighting for independence, they haven't completely gained it. What they are fighting for independence now is the African countries of the Sahel alliance that is Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. We did not gain independence. Because tell me why American intelligence. Remember, a few months ago, the director of the FBI, he just resigned yesterday or day before yesterday, but Christopher Wray, he visited Nigeria. Yes, he visited Nigeria and met with Nigeria's president. And remember that Nigeria's president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was the former governor of Lagos State, the same state where this intelligence outpost is, they're proposing to set it up. How can you be a sovereign country and another country, in another country's intelligence is coming to get involved in your country and does not owe your country or your government or your people any explanation for what they are doing on your soil? You're not independent. No, universal state. So this thing of I want to be America and America's ally, this is what they do with their allies. What you are seeing right now is the same thing. I mentioned this because it's what is going on in Ghana. The US military took a section of Ghana's airport and they are engaged in activities using that section of the airport. They do not owe the government of Ghana any explanation for what they are doing. They don't. They just behave how they want to behave and they continue. I'm still looking at Kenya in that with that eye. You see this thing, this Nana Akufo-Addo, Tinubu, and Ruto have been the most pro-West governments of Africa recently. And these are relatively fresh leaders. They're just coming up on the scene. Tinubu came in 2023. Nana Akufo-Addo just came in. He's leaving now, but just came in a few years ago. Ruto in Kenya came in 2022. So they are really just fresh leaders and they have sold out their countries. At least before, Nigeria had an air of independence because there was no military base in Nigeria. Next week I want to talk about something. I just heard the news, but I've not really researched it. That's why I'm not talking about it today. And that is Tinubu. There are rumors, but it's not. I've not confirmed it, but there are rumors. Maybe I will talk about it next week. Like I said, that Tinubu of Nigeria wants to bring in a French military base in Nigeria. Nigeria has prided itself since so-called independence, but it's nothing. But since 1960, Nigeria has prided itself that in the fact that there's been no foreign military base in Nigeria, not one, and it's a good thing. Not the Russians, not the Americans, not the French, not the Chinese, nobody. It's a good thing. But in just less than 1 year just 1 year, just over a little bit over a year, this May of 2024 made it 1 year Tinubu is in office. This is December. So it's just a year and 7 months. So in 1 year, 7 months, Tinubu is rumored to bring in French military base to Nigeria. In 1 year, 7 months, there's rumors that the American intelligence is coming to set up an outpost in Lagos State. And in this outpost, they hold the Nigerian government or the Nigerian people no explanation. In 1 year, 7 months, this is what you say state capture. This is it. Oh God, there are things I want to do next year. And that's why I need your support. Share this video, subscribe to this channel, push this word out because there are things I want to do next year. Next year, I want to begin to have I want to bring experts on this show to discuss important things. Just in case Africans don't understand the way state capture works, just in case Africans don't really understand the way the game of geopolitics is played, we need to wake up to what is going on this continent. How can the US intelligence be bringing an outpost to Nigeria in Lagos State, the most populous state and city on the continent? The most populous state and city on the continent, bringing it to the most populous nation in Africa, and they owe the people and the government no explanation. This same FBI, that has spent decades spying on Americans, they just released the information. Edward Snowden, that was one of the things that he exposed. That's one of the things that he exposed, that the American intelligence apparatus were spying on Americans. Yes, we know that they are spying on us using all these social media platforms. After all, Facebook, YouTube, all these things belong to um, American companies that have shown ties with the intelligence agencies. So I get that, right? But this one is so blatant. At least in those instances, you can hold Facebook responsible. You can take them to court. You can find them, all of those things. But this one, the American intelligence is coming to set up an office in Nigeria and host Nigeria and the Nigerian people and the government. No explanation. They did it in Ghana. They did it in Ghana. So back to Ghana and the elections in Ghana. That's why I'm thinking that because this incoming president has gone through the Soviet education system and has a soft spot for um, Russia, he may reorient Ghana to the east. And now I'm not saying he's going to cut off ties with the West. He's not going to cut off ties with the West. After when he was president the first time, he did not cut off ties with the West. So he's not going to cut off ties with the West. But this policy of Nana Akufo-Addo, where he just comes and he says, "Oh, reporting um, the Burkina Faso, Mali to Anthony Blinken, and Anthony Blinken is taking notes." All those things will not see it. So we are going to see a more balanced foreign policy in Ghana. That is what I'm predicting is going to happen. So let me know what is your prediction with the elections in Ghana and the incoming president. What is your prediction on his foreign policy? Let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with your family, with your friends, with your neighbors, with everybody, so that we can reach more people across the continent and across the world, for Africans to understand what is going on in Africa, particularly from the angle of geopolitics. And if you want to support the work that I'm doing on this channel and on this show, feel free to use the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description and on the screen. I really appreciate your support.